Good evening, everybody. Hello and welcome to
Hey.
my kitchen. My name is Michelle Moss and I'm a local Thermomix team leader. We have got a few more people joining us tonight, but we did have people register who also want to get the recording. So whenever we offer these, if you're not available but you want to know what we're doing, please register and we'll send you the recording the next morning. Welcome along. What we've done tonight is we've just organised this to show people the basics of the TM6. Now, we know it's a busy time of year, but a lot of people are investing in a Thermomix to make their Christmas holidays and festivities easier and to treat themselves and to make their lives healthier or give them more time out of the kitchen and doing other things or make them more creative. So there's lots of different reasons people invest in a Thermomix. So we want to just facilitate that for you and make sure you're getting the absolute most out of your Thermomix. Now, the best way to do that is to get a couple of friends over and get us to come and cook with you. But we do understand that with less than 2 weeks to go, in fact, 2 weeks today is Christmas Day. So with less than 2 weeks to Christmas Day, we know that that's probably not going to happen in this next 2 weeks. So book us in for January because we're all keen and eager to go. And we often have really good host rewards in January. We actually have good host rewards all the time because we've got a great bundle of host rewards to choose from with one of my gorgeous colleagues is going to go through with you later. But keep an eye out because often we have something extra special in January as well. So we'd really encourage you to have a look tonight, get the basics, start meal planning and get the most out of it over Christmas. And hopefully you get some time off where you can really play and cook with the family. And then get that demo booked in for the new year where you can really add to your, add another string to your bow, as we say, and get some extra hints and tips from all of our resident experts in the Thermomix. And the one thing we say about this is we're always all learning. So I've been around for 10 years now and I still pick up lots of hints and tips from my colleagues. And I'm sure if you speak to them, they'll say the same. So that's the beauty of our business is that we're always learning and we learn from you, the customer, as much as you learn from us. And that's actually how customers end up joining our team because they see how much fun we have and see how much knowledge we have collectively and they want to be a part of that. So if any of that resonates with you and you're looking at, whether it be a side hustle or a career change, please reach out to me or your consultant and we can give you a little bit more information about that. All righty. So the purpose of tonight is to really get you up and running. So our theory is that if you've ordered your Thermomix, or you're sitting looking at it tonight and you're going to follow along, you have already unpacked it, you've logged in and you've signed into CookieDoo and you've gone through the safety instructions. So we're going to pick you up from there. But if you're not at that point, your consultant will get you through that point. And what you will find is when you turn the Thermomix on, it is actually very intuitive. So those first few steps, you're actually prompted along the way. So when I got my first TM6, notice I said first TM6, my at the time 11-year-old set it up for me. So as I said, it's very intuitive. So what I'm going to do is flip my camera around here and introduce you to the main event. Here it is. Pretty, hey? So for those who are new to the TM6, I'll zoom in on the screen in a little bit and get rid of my face out of the screen and just show you the functionality. So the beauty is that if you've upgraded from a TM31 or a TM5, the language of the Thermomix hasn't changed. So the language of time, temperature, speed is still the same. So the beauty of that is it makes it actually really easy to learn. But a little bit like the transition to smartphones or smart TVs, this is actually easier to use than previous models. So as technology advances and things they become simpler and more user-friendly. So if you're new to Thermomix completely, you'll find that the learning curve on this is quite short. You can turn it on and you'll pick up the basics straight away. But we always say you don't know what you don't know. So that's where we come into play and we want to support your journey by making sure that you don't just know the basics, you know more than that. So you're doing lots of things. And in fact, I had a great example on the weekend where a customer of mine who lives about half an hour from the shop said to me, oh, when to make gingerbread, and then went, oh, I haven't got golden syrup, and went to go to the shops to get the golden syrup. And I went, don't go to the shops. You can make golden syrup in your Thermomix. She was like, what? So these are the sort of things that we want you to know. And she's had a Thermomix for a couple of years, so that was new to her. So we know that you're always going to learn. So that's what we want for you to be going, how easy was that? I didn't have it and I knew I could make it. So, alrighty, enough of me and a little bit more of the TM6. So I'm going to come right into the screen to begin with. and just give you a little bit of navigation around the screen. So as I mentioned before, the language, for those who are new to Thermomix, what we have here is time, temperature, and speed. Now, whichever one is large is the one you're controlling with the dial here. So you can see that's the time here. We've got the temperature. It starts at 37 and then from 40 goes up in 5-degree increments right through to 98. So you have that pre-boiling temperature. Then you've got 100 through to 120. And then our steaming temperature is up here at Varoma. Now, a temperature that you won't see on this screen is accessed through recipes, which is a high heat mode. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. And then what we've got here is our speed button. Now, when you've got any of these, if you want to reset them, you can actually press and hold your finger on that and it'll tear it back to 0 or set your temperature back to 0 as well. So what we've got here is our speed button. Now, as soon as I turn that on, you've got a little wooden spoon there. So that's the icon that you will see on official Thermomix recipes. But if you're following other blogs and things, because there are lots of recipes out there for the Thermomix that aren't official Thermomix sites, they don't have our icons. They'll refer to that as soft stir or slow stir. And then from here, your speed increments start at half and go up in half increments all the way through to number 10. Now, you may not be able to hear me now that that's up there, but what you'll see is to stop that, I just have to press the button. So we call that a quick stop. So when you're up at that speed, you are over 10,000 RPM. So it's 10 times more powerful than your standard food processor, just to give you a little bit of an indication. But the fact that you can just press the button, you don't need to turn it all the way back around to turn it off. Now, the other thing you'll notice on this screen, and this is relevant for the people who have upgraded from previous machines, is this is a fully integrated touch screen. So you've got a little picture of the blades here, which I can tap if I want the blades to go in reverse. For those who are new to Thermomix, the blades have two sides. They have a sharp side and they have a stirring side. And the stirring side is a flat edge, so it doesn't chop the food up. So if you're making a vegetable soup, a minestrone, a casserole, a risotto, anything like that, it will keep everything the size that you want it. Whereas if you're making a pumpkin soup or a mashed potato or something that you want smooth, it will use the sharp side of the blades to process or stir that food. Now, what I'm not sure if you can see on the bottom on the screen here, but there are 3 dots on this screen. So this is your home screen. When you turn your Thermomix on, this is what you're going to see. And this is mentioning you've got different ways to cook in the Thermomix. This is how you would work if you're doing manual cooking. So for those upgrading from a TM31, this is what you would know. You would know manual cooking, setting your time, temperature, and speed all the time. Now, the other way that we can cook in the TM6 is using our modes. Now, if I scroll through here, and again, I can go through these in a little bit more detail, but when you host your demo, you will get an up close and personal look, and the consultant will explain them all to you as well. So you've got lots of modes here. And the thing that's really exciting about this is that there are now 18 modes on this screen. When we got the TM6 originally, there were 9 modes. So a bit like, you wake up in the morning and your phone's had an update, your TM6 will do the same thing. So it just keeps getting better and better each time. There are some modes that were added, some of the newer ones, like the egg boiler, for example, which was something that caused a lot of excitement in the Thermomix community, because who doesn't like a perfectly boiled egg? And who can ever get it perfectly boiled on the stove every time? Not many people, I must admit. So we all love that, just as one of the ones to point out there. So then if we go in the other direction, the third way we cook, and probably the most popular in the TM6, and that's where, particularly for people who are looking to save time and be more creative, and be healthy, they're finding this. And actually the other one is saving money, because this is a great way to type in an ingredient that you've got and you want to, you don't want to waste. So this is what we call our Cookie Do platform. So Cookie Do, actually bring my face back in for a minute, make sure everyone's still there and not asleep. Cookie Do is like our Netflix for recipes. So where with a Netflix, you'd type in, right, I want to watch a movie and I want it to be a comedy. Here you go, right, I want a main meal and I want it to be vegetarian, for example. And then you will get all those different options using those filters. So you can go in looking for a genre of food. You might go, I'm looking for a pasta or rice dish, or you might go in with an ingredient. I've got some sweet potato, what am I going to make? Or I've got some chicken, what am I going to make? And what you'll find is that using those ingredients, it'll give you lots of options. So everything from a curry to a pie to fritters to a soup. So lots of different options with those ingredients. And then you can actually have a look through and go, oh, actually, I really feel like a chicken soup. That's what I'm going to make. So it gives you lots of ways to use up leftover ingredients, but also you can meal plan with Cookie Do. So you can sit down, the whole family can have the app on their phone. You can say to everybody, right, pick a meal for the week, and then it all will add into your weekly planner for your Cookie Do. And then you can also send that list to the supermarket for your grocery shopping for either click and collect or delivery. So it really does provide a full circle of service and convenience there. Alrighty, so what I'm going to do, if you don't have Cookie Do on your phone yet, you can actually download the app and get a 30-day free trial. But what we're going to do today, and we always recommend this as the first thing you make in your Thermomix, so whether that be with your consultant or on your own, your homework is to make our vegetable stock paste. So with that, has anyone got any questions so far? All good? So just using the touch screen here, I'm going to type in vegetable. Stop. Now, the basic cookbook that comes with your Thermomix actually does have this recipe in it. So it is also saved on the machine, but mostly you find that it's just quick and easy to type it through here and find it that way. So you can see here it's come up. The reason you can see it multiple times is that I've got my filters set to multiple countries, and this is a staple in all countries. So I've got a couple of options here. If you can see the 3 little dots on that recipe, I can tap on that and I can say, oh yes, I'm going to make that tomorrow. I'm going to add it to my shopping list. If it's a favorite, you can bookmark it. And if you want to cook it today, you can actually just go straight into cooking, but I can also go cook today. So if I was going to cook it, if this was the morning and I'm cooking it tonight, I could go into cook today. So then when I go into my meal planner, it's there ready to go. But when you're ready to start cooking, you actually can just tap on that recipe and you're straight into that recipe. So you'll notice the little arrow here. So it means I can go down and get some more information about that. Oops, no, I don't want to start just yet. Some more information about that recipe. So every recipe will have its level of difficulty. Now, this one's easy, so we always like that. Easy is always good. The prep time is 10 minutes. So, and look, I actually challenge that. I think it's a little bit quicker than 10 minutes, but I'll tell you why I can do it quicker than 10 minutes. And it says the total time is 30 minutes. So, and again, that includes the prep time. So the cook time on this is 20 minutes. So it's a very quick dish. And it says serving size 800 grams. Now, this is a stock paste, which replaces a stock cube. A tablespoon of this will replace a stock cube. Now, when we did some sums a few years ago, the stock cubes were about 40 cents each. Now, I haven't actually bought one for so long. Maybe one of Mandy or Deborah can tell me how much a Massel stock cube is these days. But at the time, they were about 40 cents each. A tablespoon of this cost about 10 cents to make. Now, if you add a tablespoon of this into liquid, you end up with a liquid stock. So for 1 tablespoon to half a litre of water, or 2 tablespoons to a litre of water. So for 20 cents, roughly, depending on what you've paid for your vegetables and herbs, you've got a litre of vegetable stock. Now, I know that if you go and buy that in the supermarket, you're looking at around $3, $4. And I've got a few customers now who buy specialist ones, like maybe if they're following a FODMAP diet or something like that, and they're paying $7 or $8 for a litre of stock. So imagine the cost saving just in using the stock paste without actually even looking at any of the other things that you'll save money on. It's actually quite mind-boggling where you can save money. In fact, that golden syrup example I gave a bit earlier is a good one too. How did you go, Mandy? Did you
10 cents a cube, I think, from what I can see here, which seems a bit odd, but that's what I can find on here.
Those large Massel ones, I think they're about 40 cents.
Oh, are they? Okay. Well, I might be looking at the wrong thing.
Yeah. Not the one with those tiny little dice cubes.
Oh, okay. That might be what I'm looking at.
Quality, yeah.
Yep.
All good. So what I'm going to do is show you, oh, losing my apron there, is I've got the ingredients all ready to go here. Now, one of the things is that you don't have to over prepare any of the ingredients. Let the Thermomix do the work. You don't need to do the work. Now, the rule of thumb is that you chop things the size of the hole in the mixing bowl lid, okay? So you can see, my pieces of zucchini straight through there, or my pieces of celery. So I haven't over prepared anything. So you don't need to dice it all up. That's what the Thermomix is going to do for you. So I'll come back in so you can see as I pop the ingredients in. And it's really quite easy to follow. I'm just going to take my simmering basket out and I will talk you through all these parts while it's cooking. When you're ready to start cooking, you just press start cooking. So the first ingredient
Excuse me,
here,
Michelle.
yes.
Sorry, Michelle. Can you tell me how to get to that point again? Because I'm still on the main screen.
Oh, yes. So swipe to the right, which will access Cookie Do on the left.
Okay.
You in Cookie Do?
Oh, right. Swipe. Sorry. Swipe to the right.
Yeah. So if you swipe left, you access the screen on the right, which is the modes. And if you swipe right, you access the screen on the left. It's a little bit confusing, but we get there in the end.
I had it before. I don't know what I've done, but I have to be in that same point. I can't do this without, because I've got all my ingredients ready as well.
Well, I'll tell you another way to do it is if you go into your menu. So from your home screen,
Yeah.
go into the menu. So in the top left corner there, there's the little hamburger they call it, the little 3 stripes.
Sorry.
You
Yep.
just
Yep. And go into.
and it says My Recipes.
Yep.
So tap in My Recipes and then go to Saved Collections.
Oh, okay.
And what you'll see is the cookbook that came with your Thermomix.
Yep. Okay then.
And then if you go in there and go right to the bottom because it's alphabetical, vegetable stock paste will be almost the last thing on the list.
Okay.
I'm excited that you're cooking with me, Grace.
I feel so raw about it all, but anyhow, I'm excited. So
Who's
it's
your
all the
photographer,
pictures,
Grace?
isn't it? A vegetable stock paste. Yep. I've got that. Thanks, Michelle.
That's all right. So now when it goes start cooking, the first thing we're going to do is weigh in our celery. Now, what you'll notice is that the scales are on 0. So when you are adding things in, it'll start going up. And the scales in the TM6 weigh in 1 gram increments. So for those who are quite chefy, this has been a real game changer. With savoury cooking, it's not so relevant, but with sweet cooking where measurements need to be more precise, it's definitely been something that our customers have been very excited about. Now, you'll notice here mine says 211 because I grabbed out 2 sticks of celery from my fridge and I don't need to cut that 10 grams off. So a few grams either side, particularly with something like this, it doesn't matter. So don't feel like, if you're someone who likes to measure things exactly or weigh things exactly, you can certainly do that. But with your savoury
Do I press start cooking? Press start cooking.
Start cooking, yeah.
Okay, start cooking and then put everything in. Okay,
and then
sorry.
follow the instructions. So it'll say put your celery in. And then when we go next, it's got saying 2 carrots. Now, my carrots today were really skinny, tiny carrots. So that is 4 carrots. So you can be a little bit, you're the judge. So, and what you might notice, I hope you can see through there, I haven't peeled those carrots. So when you're doing soups and things, look, there's never ever a need to peel them. But I must admit, if I'm doing salads, I do peel them because they do look a bit prettier on the table. But certainly for things like this, there's no need. So you want to make it as easy as you can for yourself. So the next ingredient.
Michelle, sorry to interrupt. Your screen's very white. We can't actually see the writing on the screen.
Oh, okay. Let me just see if I go in my settings. Is that better?
Oh, much better. Thank you.
There we go. My brightness was up too high. Sorry, girls. So the next ingredient is the onion. So again, all I've had to do is peel that and cut it in half. So in it goes. Now, the next ingredient is fresh tomato. I didn't have any whole tomatoes, but I had some of these little Roma ones. These were super cheap at the market the other day because I don't know if you can see, but they're going a little bit. So they're not as nice for a salad, but I'm certainly not throwing them out. So they're the perfect thing to go in my stock paste. And then, as I showed you before, I've got my zucchini pieces here. This was quite a large zucchini. So if you were cooking something else and you didn't want to put that whole thing in, you could do that. So again, you know, this is very forgiving, this recipe. You can really be the judge. Now it says 2 garlic cloves. Mine were quite small, so I'm putting in 3. But keep in mind, for those people who might be following a FODMAP diet, you can leave the garlic and onion out. And then what you're creating is the $8 a litre stock by leaving those 2 things out. Isn't it funny? There's less in, but they charge you more. I always love that. And then last but not least, a dried leaf, there we go, a dried bay leaf. It does say optional. So if you don't have it, don't worry. And I actually will point out that this recipe does say use any leftover vegetables. So sometimes I don't have a tomato at all, but I might have a red capsicum or a broccoli stalk or, you know, any sort of a few mushrooms, a few sort of crinkled up mushrooms at the bottom of the veggie keeper. So you just don't need to throw anything out. You just throw it in here. So you can really make it your own. Now, next is the herbs. Now, sorry, I skipped past that then, so I'll just take it back to show you. So that's the bay leaf. Now, here's my plate of herbs. So what you'll notice, and I am a little bit rogue here, it does say leaves only, but I find that for my basil and parsley, you get really good flavour from the stalks as well. Plus, I'm a bit lazy, so I don't really want to take it off the stalks. And you'll notice here, see that basil, it's starting to go a little bit. But so again, I wouldn't put it in a salad, but it's perfect in the stock paste. So with that, you'd really just want to pick those up and honestly just tear them and pop them in. Now, for those of you who have gone through your safety instructions, you may have noticed that it said to not overfill the basket past the maximum fill line. Now, I want to point that out, that is to do with cooking. So at this point, and I will show you, the bowl will be quite full, but we're going to chop it down before we cook. And once we do that, the bowl will actually only be about half full. Has anyone got any questions so far?
With the rosemary, Michelle, will I take off all the
I'm
little
glad
leaves
you
off
said
the
that.
sprigs?
So the only thing I do take off the stalks, unless you've got that really lovely green soft rosemary, I will take that off. Okay. So you can see the top bit of that is the soft green bit. I'm going to put that in. So if I show you my rosemary, I've got the sort of soft green bit here and the woody bit there. So I'm going to take it off the woody bit and put that in. But then I'm just going to take the tip off and put the whole tip in.
Mine's very full.
Yep, so is mine. So I'll show you mine. I'm just going to let me tip all these things in here.
I'm putting mine through the little hole.
Oh, well, it's easier to take the lid off when you're doing that, but I'll just show you mine. So you can see that that's quite full there. So don't worry that yours is full, because it will be full. But once you chop it down, you'll find it'll only be about half full. Okay. Now, I don't have sage, and I very rarely have sage. So you can just leave it out. If you've only got 2 or 3 of the 4 herbs, that's actually okay too. So again, there are no rules. You might have coriander and like that and put that in. You might have spring onions. So whatever you've got, just, use what you've got. You might not have rosemary, you might have lots of sage. Sometimes when I'm delivering a Thermomix and I say, look, I don't have sage, they say, oh, I've got plenty in the garden. So then I'll take some home and I will make something with sage. So you can just play with your flavors and what you've got on hand. The 3 herbs I use the most in a lot of my cooking are parsley, basil, and rosemary. So they're the ones that the rosemary's outside in the garden, but I do buy the other 2. I must get onto growing that, but it's on the list of things to do when there's a bit more time in my life. So how are you going, Grace? Have you got all your things in now?
I think everything except the rock salt and the oil.
Yep, that's okay. So if we press next here, you're going to find you don't need those just yet, because we need to chop down what we've got in here so far. Alrighty, so we're going to pop the lid on. So it says insert your measuring cup.
Pop the lid on.
Yep. And press next. Now it's preset 10 seconds and it's asking us, there's no temperature required at this point. It is asking us to go to speed 6. Now, what I will say to you is that because we have added the stalks and things as well, it can sometimes take a few seconds longer than 10 seconds. So there's a couple of options. You can, at this point, go, I think it might take 15 seconds, and you can press that time and go up to 15. Now, I'm sharing this with you. You don't need to make any changes, but within a guided recipe, you're still in control. So if you go, well, no, I do want to chop it a bit longer, or I want my onion a bit bigger, so instead of chopping on speed 7, I'm going to chop it on speed 5. You've got all those choices, okay? So I've moved that up to 15 seconds, and now I'm going to go over here and turn it on. Now, the other thing, I've got my special spatula tonight because my other one's in the dishwasher, but your spatula that you got will be grey, and it's got this gorgeous silicone tip, which makes scraping out the bowl very easy. Another thing that you can do is some recipes will tell you to use the spatula through the hole in the mixing bowl lid. So that is because this has got a safety guard here. Now, if I sit this here, you can see it's all the way up here. The blade is all the way down here. So the reason this spatula comes with your Thermomix is that it's the only one we ever want you to use through the hole in the lid. If you're scraping your bowl out once you've finished cooking or chopping, you can use whatever silicone spatula you like. But with this, we specifically say to you, only ever use the one with the safety guard. All righty? So I'm going to turn that on up to speed 6. And once it got going, you saw that I took the measuring cup off there and stuck the spatula through the top. Now, the reason I find that with the stock paste is because what you find... Oh, I can hear yours, Grace.
Mine didn't mix. I've done something wrong.
No, it's because what happens is, and that's why I stuck my spatula in, because the herbs are light, they stay on the top. If you get your spatula in there now, you'll find everything underneath, all those hard veggies are chopped. It's just the herbs on the top. So just shove your herbs into your mix, pop your bowl back in, or you probably didn't take it out. And so here's the other thing you can do. So I changed the time on mine, but what you can do is you can use the back button here and just repeat that step.
To 10.
Yep. So scrape it down and push all the herbs in amongst the hard veggies. And then when you put that on, it'll chop them all. And it probably won't need the full 10 seconds, but you can leave that, that's fine.
Is it meant to be locked?
What do you mean?
No. Oh, the side things.
It'll lock in when you turn it on.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so you turning it on is what actions the arms to lock the lid into place.
Okay.
All righty. All right, so the next step is to scrape down the bowl, which I've done. Next is to add the rock salt. In it goes, 150 grams. The next is a tablespoon of oil. Now, if you're someone who likes to get a tablespoon out, you can do that. I'm a bit more of a dollop kind of girl, so I'm just going to do that. But again, be authentic to who you are as a cook. If you like to use tablespoon, grab one out. If you were using a saucepan and you'd just go dollop, then please do that as well. So be who you are. Now it's asking me to pop the lid on and pop the simmering basket on the top. And I'm just going to turn that onto speed 1 and roll backwards. So now that's cooking away. That's cooked for 20 minutes. It's set and forget. You can go out, you can walk the dog, you can bring the washing in, you can be having a look through Cookie Do to find out what meal you're going to cook. Because I always say to people, don't make stock paste when you're hungry because it smells amazing, but you can't eat it. So now while that's starting to cook and that salt's dissolving, what we're going to do is pop over to Mandy's kitchen, because Mandy has got all the host rewards there. And she might not even be in her kitchen. She doesn't need to be in her kitchen for host rewards. She might be on her couch. I don't know. So let's find out. She's going to go through what our options are, or what your options are when you host a demo and have a couple of friends over. and learn more things about your Thermomix and what rewards you have. Over to you, lovely Mandy.
Okie doke. Hello. I know. I look. I've got the Christmas tree in the background, nowhere near my kitchen.
How lovely.
So yeah, so I think one of the really important things about host rewards too, and well, as hosting, is that you do learn so much. And as Michelle said, we're always learning all the time. And if you have purchased your Thermomix and you're doing a delivery demo, there's another bonus for you apart from host rewards, and that is a 20% discount voucher for the Mix Shop. And there's heaps of amazing things on the Mix Shop. If you haven't looked in there recently, go and have a look. It's amazing. But let me just show you the rewards. So the first one here is the blade cover peeler. All right. And I don't know when Grace bought. She might have got one of these with her. I know Jo has upgraded, so she didn't get any presents. But the blade cover peeler is awesome. It sits over your blades, literally as it's named. It covers the blades. It's great for slow cooking. There are some recipes that don't need it, but some recipes suggest that you have the blade cover. It's great for sous vide because it gives you volume in the bowl. And the other thing is it is a peeler. So it will peel your vegetables. I would say round vegetables. I would never do carrots in it because I think there'd be too much wastage. But mind you, if you could use that peel in your stock, so I guess you could do it that way. I use it a lot for garlic and for ginger. So those are the main things I actually use it for, but it's awesome. And when you get a blade cover peeler, you also get a little ebook, which gives you some ideas of recipes and how to use it. So that's probably the newest thing that we have. Then I have a selection of thermoservers. So this is the white thermoserver with a clear lid. And this is 2.2 litres. So this will actually sit in your Varoma and you can make yogurt in it. Don't you love it? The beginning of in that movie that you showed at the beginning, it said yogurt. None of this yogurt business.
You mentioned the Varoma. So this is the Varoma. So I just got a side by side for the minute. So for those of you who haven't received your Thermomix yet, I hope you're aware that this also comes with your Thermomix. So this is your steaming basket. Pardon me. So it consists of the dish and the tray and the lid. If you've had a Thermomix for a long time and you're not using your Varoma, please book a demo there and ask for a dish where you use the Varoma because you get so much more out of your Thermomix if you use the Varoma. So Mandy can explain why that fits in there.
Yeah. So it literally sits in without the tray, and you use fermentation mode, and you can make yogurt. So that's really cool. It's also a really nice dish for salads and things in summer. So that's 2.2 litres, that one. We also have a 2.6 litre one. And I should also mention that thermoservers, if you haven't come across them before, they keep your food warm or cold for up to 2 hours. So they're really awesome. You can pre-plan. You don't have to make things, immediately beforehand. I love them. And I know Jo has come to plenty of dinners where I've pre-made things and served them things up on the table. So that's the 2.6 litre. And then you've also got this oval thermoserver, which is 2.5 litres. I think that's a really nice one actually to put on the table. So you've got various thermoserver options. And the last couple of options, this is my good oven mat. Okay, I've got one that's really, really very stained. But you can pop that in the oven. You can use it instead of using baking paper. It's awesome. It's silicone. You do not use a sharp knife on it though. So that is the oven mat. And the other one that comes with it is your bread mat. And this is the new version of the bread mat, or the newer version, which has the lines on it. So if you're rolling out pastry or anything, you've got all those lines on it to help you roll out a circle. So I would definitely reinforce exactly what Michelle's been saying about hosting a demo, and remembering you get that 20% off Mix Shop voucher as well when you do host, when it's a delivery demo. So have a think about who you'd like to invite. Have a think about people who could benefit from the Thermomix, like you can obviously see the benefits of it, and book in a date. Now she's left me.
Thanks, Mandy. I haven't left you on. Right here. Would I leave you? No, I was just getting a drink of water, so I turned my camera off for a minute because I was nicking it out of the bottle because I didn't have a glass. Well done, Mandy. Yeah, so there's lots of great host rewards, and we have lots of choices. So people can actually host, because sometimes people go, oh, I've got a lot of friends who want to come. But what we recommend is really just invite 2 or 3 friends, because the beauty of that is that everybody can get up close and personal with the Thermomix. Everyone can touch it. We usually cook 2 to 3 dishes. So if you've got sort of 3 or 4 people there, everyone can sort of have a go and get up nice and close and really learn. Because if people are there because they're thinking, well, I've heard about this Thermomix, it might help me, I'm not sure. You know, if you've got 10 people, then it's a little bit hard for everybody to kind of get their own questions answered. But honestly, if you're sitting there thinking, I know 10 people who want to come to a demo, guess what? That's the start of a business. So actually keep that in mind as well, because there are, and in fact, I did a demo just the other week for a customer who said, oh, I've got a few ladies who want to come and they're not really interested in buying, but one might, and we'll just have a look. And then 2 of them bought, and the 2 that bought were not the 2 that she expected. So now I've been chatting with her and she said, actually, I've got a few people who I think are going to buy. So she said she's going to start in January and join the team. So, you know, you just never know where it might take you. And one of the things that we offer is a 60-day program. So you do the training. It's a combination of online modules, Zoom training with our local branch manager, and then a prep training with your team leader, which in this case would be me. And all of that can be done in about 10 to 14 days. And then you can start your business, and you have this 60-day period where you really just try it on for science. So if you're sitting there thinking, I'm not sure, maybe it's for me, maybe it's not, so that's the best way to find out. The beauty of that is that at the end of the 60 days, even if you go, do you know what, it wasn't for me, you've learned a lot about your Thermomix and you've made some new friends, and you will get the most out of it going forward. Now, if you come in using our Earn program, it's also a great way to pay off your Thermomix, where you pay a deposit at the start, and each sale you make reduces the residual of your Thermomix. Or if you already own a Thermomix, then each sale you make, you earn commission straight away. Once you reach 3 sales in that 60 days, which is a very achievable amount, you will earn our blade cover peeler, which Mandy was just showing you, and also the infamous cutter, because it is actually currently the only way that you can get hold of one. We didn't have enough stock to supply everybody who wanted them previously, and we kept them because we want new consultants to have all the accessories. So keep that in mind. So speaking of accessories, the TM6 does come with everything that you need to start cooking. So one of the things, that's one of the things I've always loved about it, is that you don't need to buy a dough hook if you want to knead dough. The blade in there does that already. You don't need to buy a juicer. You can do it all with the Thermomix, and then using the simmering basket, for example, you can strain out your juice. Now, I'm just going to cover that over for a minute, just so I can show you. So the simmering basket is one of the accessories that comes with your Thermomix, and it fits perfectly inside the bowl for steaming small amounts. When it's hot and you are steaming, a little hook on the spatula is how you would lift that up. So everything is very well thought out. The lid here can flip open, so the cutout in that fits that it will flip open that way, or you can flip it open before you hook it up. And that way, so you've got rice or a small amount of veggies in here, you can then carry that and tip it into another bowl. So it's all very well thought out, and you'll notice that it's got this sort of strainer here. So when I talked about making juice, if you don't want the pulp in your juice, you can actually pop that in after you've blitzed all your fruit and pour it out, but without the pulp. So I'm just swapping that back over where it's supposed to be, on top of the lid. The other attachment here, now if you've got a previous model of the Thermomix, you will never have seen this before. This is a TM6 specific attachment, and it's called a splash guard. So, you know, the other day I was talking about this and I could not remember the name of it. I'm going, it's a, So anyway, obviously that had been a busy day. There was too many tabs open up here. So this is called the splash guard. Now what you'll see with this is that it's got the holes around the outside, but the solid bit in the middle. And that is because this is used when you're doing high heat. So I mentioned a bit earlier about high heat being accessed through the modes within recipes. So that's when we're talking about things like caramelizing onions or browning meat. And that gets up to 160 degrees. So it replicates what would happen in a fry pan if you had onions in a fry pan. But this is a safety attachment. So someone doesn't go, what does 160 degrees of hot oil splashing in my onions look like? And have a look through the top. So this goes on, and you'll see these little wings here. When those arms, the automatic arms, lock the lid in, they also catch those wings. So it cannot be removed while it's going. And it will give you an instruction that says place the splash guard on top. And when you've done it, you need to actually on the screen press done so it knows that you've done it. So it's really, really clever. One of the other things that I wanted to talk to you about is, particularly if you're a previous model owner, is the new measuring cup, which has got these wings here. So when you pop that in the lid, for those with previous models, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about here. And you take your lid off and your measuring cup goes flying across your kitchen. That's not going to happen anymore. So it's called a measuring cup because it does have at the halfway point in here a 50 ml measure, or the top 100 ml measure. So if you just need to get a little bit of water or wine to add to a recipe, you can just carry that to the fridge and put a wine in, or carry that to the tap and fill it up. And that's why it's actually got the spout there, to make that easy to add to your bowl. Now, the other little attachment I've got here is the butterfly whisk. So has anyone who's used their butterfly whisk yet? So it does what it says on the tin. It's a whisk. So things like pavlova. Who's making pavlova for Christmas? Me. I actually made one a couple of weeks ago in our classes because we did family Christmas yesterday. So out went the pavlova. So this is used in different recipes: mashing potato, whisking egg whites, butter, so making our fruity dream. So there's a few different recipes that use the whisk, and it will actually say insert the butterfly whisk. So I guess you can see why it's called a butterfly. And the instructions on here, for those who are new to Thermomix accessories, is maximum speed 4. Now, none of our recipes will go above speed 4. So I'm more just sharing that with you because once you start making up your own recipes, you might go, oh, I'm going to whip that up. But if you go above speed 4, it will dislodge and your butterfly will fly. So just keep that in mind. And as a new owner or someone who may have just ordered, you might be going, oh, I'll never be confident enough to make up my own recipes. But you'll actually be surprised at how quickly that will come. And particularly if you engage the knowledge of your consultant by having a demo. So definitely keep that in mind when you're thinking about, what you're doing and what you're cooking. And please think that none of us, sometimes we go, I don't want to bother you. We're not stressed at dinner time because our dinner is in the Thermomix. So if you have a question, please call us or text, call, whatever your preferred method of communication is, and we will get back to you as soon as we can or be answering your call. We know you're not ringing for a half-hour chat at dinner time. We know you're cooking your dinner and all of a sudden you've got a question. And we all say to our customers, we never want you standing there and staring at your Thermomix going, I don't know what to do, or I can't find the turbo button, or where do I access the scales in a recipe? So these are things that we can answer within seconds and you can get on with your cooking rather than trying to figure it out on your own, because you're not on your own. We're all in this together and we all want everyone to get the most out of the Thermomix. As consultants, we actually say, we're not the ones selling Thermomixes. We facilitate the sales, and you people who love them are the ones out there selling them. So that's really what we want to encourage. Has anyone got any questions so far?
I haven't done my stock paste yet because, the speed button, I could only get it to go to number 5, Michelle. I'll try it again.
Which section, Grace?
Sorry?
Which part? When you were
the blade speed.
Yeah.
I'll try it again. I haven't mixed it yet because I can just put my spatula in the Thermomix while it's going, can't I?
Hold the spatula through the hole in the lid, and then you can turn it up to number 6. You won't even really need to move it much, but you can sort of go from side to side. You can sort of hold it like that and go side to side if that feels comfortable. How'd you go?
Okay.
While you're doing that, what I'm going to do, because there's only a few minutes of mine left to cook.
Yeah, sure. I can work it out. No problem.
That's all right. I'll share my screen and show people Cookie Do, and I can stay on with you at the end, Grace, and talk you through that bit if you haven't got there yet.
Yeah.
We are recording tonight, and we're going to share the recording as well. So
yeah, sure.
Go in and show people some Cookie Do recipes, or just how to sort of navigate around. That could be quite quite, oh, what am I doing? I'm trying to open up the wrong thing there. That's hilarious. Righty. See, that should have been quicker. Just trying it here. Beautiful. Now, for those who haven't signed up to Cookie Do yet, even if you haven't received your machine, you can sign in and get a 30-day free trial. And it's a great way to start browsing and getting an idea of what you might like to cook. Here we go. There we go. Beautiful. Can everybody see that? Is that thumbs up? Yes?
Yeah, it's good.
Beautiful. Now, I think the first thing you'll probably notice is the fact that it looks the same here as it does on my machine. So the beauty of that is that it makes it really easy to transfer from machine to laptop to phone. So whatever device you're looking at, it will look the same. Now you can scroll through here and you'll notice those 3 little dots are there like they were before. And if I jump on them in here, there are even more options than there are on the screen of the phone. So I can add it to my week from here. And I might go, oh, I'm going to make that one on Wednesday and slot it in there. And if I'm going to make it, I'm going to need to add it to my shopping list as well. So I might have a look and go, you know what, I've got some chicken in the fridge and I haven't worked out what I'm going to make with that yet. So I'm going to type in chicken. Now you'll notice up the top here, all of these are all my filters. So I'm looking in lots of different countries here. So what you'll notice when I type in chicken is that you've got these sort of butterfly chickens, like whole chicken pieces, chicken curry with spinach, chicken lasagna, chicken soup, an Asian style chicken dish, a lemon chicken, chicken burgers. So there's lots of different things going on here, chicken curries, lots of different options. So once you do that, you can then flick through and go, well, which one do I want to make? That all looks lovely. Oh, a red cabbage and chicken salad. That sounds nice and healthy. What's in that? So I can click on that recipe and have a little scroll down the side on the left-hand side and have a look at those ingredients and actually go, do you know what? I've got nearly all of those ingredients. So that sounds great. That's the one I'm going to make. So I'm going to add that to my week and cook that tomorrow. There we go. And you can see here it says that it serves 4 portions. Now, I'll have a look on that. It does give me an option where it says here, make it your own. I could actually go in and upscale or downscale that recipe. Some recipes, they've done that for you already. So I'll give you an example, which is porridge. So scaled recipes means the portion size. So if I go in and have a look at something like porridge, you'll notice that on the side here it says 4 portions, but I can click on that and select 2, 4, or 6, and it actually has already calculated those quantities. So if I go, well, we've got a couple of friends over for breakfast as well, then it'll increase those in quantities to do a portion for 6 people. And again, if I go, well, I'm going to need to buy extra oats for that, I better add that to my shopping list. So you've got lots of different options here. On this explore page as well, you can go further down to have a look at new collections, different blog things. This section here is quite lovely because it's all sort of very seasonal or topical depending on what's happening at the time. So this is a festive collection. These biscuits are delicious with the cranberries and pistachio nuts. But you can scroll through and see what else is on offer. So for anyone expecting or with young babies at home, you've got all these amazing recipes for both mother and baby and toddler, which is fantastic. Then again, I talked about the Varoma before. For those who aren't either using a Varoma at all or really using it sparingly, this gives you lots of information about how to do layered cooking and getting the most out of that Varoma. So there's lots of different options here. And then this awesome section here about all the different modes and explaining how they all work there. So, well, there we go. That's fun. So what I'm going to do actually is show you the next step. So I'm going to go stop share for a minute and show you. So that's actually finished cooking now. So that's 20 minutes. So have a little think about what you would have done in that 20 minutes, because if that was something on the stove, you wouldn't have gone too far away because you would have been stirring that constantly. So obviously with this old set and forget and turning itself off, you've got a lot more freedom, haven't you? So take you back around here because it's really simple instructions. So I'm going to go next. Now it says to insert the measuring cup now. So I'm going to take the basket off and pop that to the side there and pop the measuring cup in the lid. Now you can, as I mentioned before, that locks in so it's not falling out there. Now what you might have noticed then actually is that when I put it on, so when you cook, the seal will expand to create a seal around the lid. So if you give it just a little swivel, it'll actually just create that seal and make sure no drips come out and make sure that the silicone seal has perfectly folded around the side of that of the bowl there. Now this instruction here, it's preset for a minute. So Mandy, you might talk while this minute's going on because I won't be able to talk, but I'll just explain this bit. It says turn speed selected to number 5, then increase the speed gradually to speed 9. So that's a safety feature. You don't want to go while we're up at 100 degrees of food in the bowl straight up to speed 9. So we're going to go to speed 5 and it just says to do it gradually. So I'm going to let it sit here for about 20 seconds because it actually doesn't need a lot of time at that high speed. The other thing you'll notice, and I'll flick back to that in a moment when I go up, is that it is vibrating a little bit, and that's actually okay because there's a lot of velocity there. So it sounds like it's going to take off, but I promise you it won't. And it is actually because it's as powerful as a helicopter motor. So I'm going to be able to give you more detail on that. I'm a little not tech savvy. What's the opposite of tech savvy? Right, I'm going to pop up the number 9 and I'm going to add Mandy to my screen so she can unmute myself and she can have a chat for a few seconds.
Okay, so yeah, it is quite noisy when it's blending up on speed 10. So just a couple of little tips I thought of as we're going along. I noticed, Grace, your the sound on your Thermomix kept chiming and chiming and chiming. So a really easy way to stop that is literally just touch the screen and that'll stop the chiming. The other thing you can do when you have your Thermomix is you go into your settings and go into sounds, and it gives you a couple of options of how long you want it to chime for and how loud you want the chime. And you just put your finger on the screen, touch screen, and you slide it back. So I actually have mine on 10 seconds and the quietest it can be, but you know, it's different for different people. So are you done? Yeah.
Hey, yeah, I know. It's quick. It's funny how quick a minute goes when you're chatting away, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now it just says, this is what I love about this recipe. It says finish and transfer it into jars. So one of the things I love to do is if I buy anything now and I've got the choice of buying it in plastic or glass jar, I always go for the glass jar because then I can reuse those jars. So Confessions of a Thermix Consultant. This is the Aldi mayonnaise jar. This is a pickles jar, and I think this was pickles as well, but that was the Aldi jar lid. So I pop it in the dishwasher and the labels come off and then I have to clean the filter. So I'm going to tilt the camera down so you can just see me pour it in. Now there's a couple of little tips here. One is that you can take all my lids off. So it'll probably feel one of those or sort of this here. So you can sort of choose. So I do have a jam funnel. I don't often, in fact, I've never made jam, but I do make chutneys and things sometimes. And in fact, I did make quite a bit for Christmas. I'm going to tilt that up for a second and just show you. So when you lift the lid, just lift it away from you because there's going to be a lot of steam. And you can use your spatula just to scrape anything that's on the lid back into the bowl. Now, another little tip, whenever I make stock paste, I generally always make a soup or something afterwards. So I don't actually clean the bowl. So now I've scraped all that into there. And I'm going to pick up my jug here. Now, I will share with you that when you are picking the jug up out of the base, you want to hold it up here. But when you're pouring, what you want to do is grab it at the base of the triangle. So it's an ergonomic handle. So you'll feel that it actually feels much easier to pour it when you're holding it like this. So the other tip, if you don't have a funnel, is that you can use your lid to pop over your jar as well, which will then catch, get me out of the frame and get the jars in. There we go. will then, if there's any spillage, it'll be caught in the lid. So pour that one in there using my funnel. So if you think about what we've made here, if you were buying this as liquid stock, it would probably make about 40 to 50 litres of liquid stock. So just to give you a little bit of an idea, sometimes people are a little bit concerned about the salt content of the stock paste. But if you think about that in relation to it being 40 odd litres of stock, you realise that 150 grams actually isn't that much. And it's a lot less salt than you would get in a store-bought stock, but it's also a good salt. So you're using a rock salt. Some people choose to use like a Himalayan rock salt. So you can really be, again, in control with those sorts of things there. So there we go on the stock paste. My 2 little jars there. Now they are actually hot. So I'm going to let those sit there, and I'll pop the lids on them and pop them in the fridge. But the awesome thing about the stock paste is it will last for several months in the fridge. Now, we used to say 6 months, but we actually worked out even longer than that. So several months in the fridge is how long it will last. It's fantastic. Now, I feel like there's so much more I can tell you, and that's why it's really important to have a demo. But I think I've hopefully given you enough information tonight between Mandy and myself to make you go, I feel confident to turn it on and follow a guided recipe. But please reach out to your consultant, because we offer more information on cookie dough, more information about the modes, and just more information how you can get the most out of your Thermomix in general. Before we sign off, has anybody got any questions or comments? Right. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. We really appreciate you giving up your evening and I hope you walk away with some extra hints and tips. Your consultant will reach out to you after tonight and just see how you went. And as I say, if you are new, to get that demo booked in for January so you can really get some more going. But between now and then, please ask lots of questions and learn all along the way, because we do want you to get the most out of it. I'll stop recording and sign off, but Grace, I will stay on to help you finish off your stock to make sure you're
Okay, thanks, Michelle.
what's happening as well. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Michelle.
Bye, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mandy.
Bye.
Bye.